how much do I get from the union government? Primarily, we get through two baskets. One is the devolution, and the other is the centrally sponsored schemes. In the year 2018-19, when the union government's budget size was 24 lakhs in the year 18-19, Karnataka got 46,000 crores from the union government under these two baskets, the devolution and centrally sponsored schemes together. And this year, 23-24, the union government's budget size has almost doubled from 18-19, when it was 24 lakhs. This year it is 45 lakhs. And in the year 18-19, I was getting 46,000 crores from the union government, and this year I'm likely to get 50,000 crores. So when the union government's budget size has almost doubled from 24 lakhs to 45 lakh crores, the amount Karnataka gets from the union government, not from the union government, it is my share in the revenues raised by union government, which I'm sure Mr. Govindra would have pointed out. My share has gone up only from 46,000 to 50,000 crores, only by 4,000 crores. So that's an increase of about 8%. When the union budget size has increased by 100%, Karnataka's devolution share has increased by only 8%. So through all these mechanisms, I think the fiscal strength of the states is being systematically, surreptitiously, and deliberately undermined by the omissions and commissions of the union government, and in tandem with the finance commissions working. Now, this is not good for the country, is my view. Now, quickly, I'll react on 2-3 issues before I can wind up. Some of my friends have pointed out that, are you against cross-sharing of revenues? No, I'm all for cross-sharing, because if I should have any moral authority to speak about federalism, then I should, if I say I'm against cross-transfer of resources, then it is anti-federalist. I am for cross-transfers. I am for other states getting more than what they contribute to the union revenues, and I am for some states like Karnataka getting less than what we contribute. I am not saying every rupee of mine should come back to me. No. And I'm not saying every rupee of mine should come back proportionately me. No. I am happy to accept a lesser share than what I contribute, but it should at least take care of my needs. Because as I have recently said, I am the cash cow. Karnataka is the cash cow for the country. We are the second highest contributing state in the union. And if you stifle, constrain your cash cow, and if that cash cow, starts pumping less money into the union, then the union will not be healthy in the long term either. So you should nurture your cash cow. So I'm only asking that the needs of a state like Karnataka should also be factored in and should not be lost in the terms of reference that are very cleverly designed to hurt states like Karnataka. So I am for cross transfers, but I'm only for taking care of needs and maintaining the fiscal strength of a state like Karnataka. Number two, I believe, and this I have, if you had asked me 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I didn't know. But through my last 15 years being in the public life, I have learned that, be it federalism or be it politics, need not be a zero-sum game. Doesn't have, I don't have to benefit at the cost of somebody else. Not always. There are ways that we can all coexist. And in this case, somehow the union governments looks like they view this as a zero-sum game. I'm sure we can have strong states and strong union. And in fact, in my view, that is the only way we can strengthen India, by having strong states at the same time a crucial role for the union. I am not for weakening the union government. I'm for a strong union government. They should do their job. At the same time, the states, which every finance commission has recorded in its report, which every state has a larger role in the social welfare of the people, should get what they need to take care of their people. And I'm sure they are not contradictory in my view. We can have such an arrangement, but we seem to have people at the helm of affairs who don't think that both can be healthy. And number three, if you go on weakening the states, fiscal strength of the states, fiscal autonomy of the states, you're ultimately weakening the whole union. You cannot have a strong union with weaker states. That is a very shallow approach to a complex society, complex nation state of states, a nation of nationalities. That's a very retrograde approach in a society like ours. But that, stronger center but weaker states, that somehow the state should be dependent on the union, and I must go stand with my hands folded in front of the union. This thought process is detrimental to the whole union, not just to the states. It will leave everybody in a weaker position. And it not only applies to states, because there is Panchayat Raj, ACS sitting here, State Finance Commission chairperson sitting here. It applies to devolution at all levels. Because I have heard this, that yes, devolution up till me, not below me. No, I am not for that. Every government must, whether the local body, the state government, or the union government, everybody has a role to play if our society has to collectively move forward. So, when you undermine your parts, your whole also gets undermined. But somehow that message doesn't seem to be dawning on the current dispensation. So these are my broad thoughts. Now, of course, I have not spoken about what needs to be done, which is probably what. So what needs to be done is a better appreciation of the needs of the states, better. I will not get into issues about population, terms of reference, weightage, all those issues. Once there is political consensus, all those issues will automatically follow. When your political consensus is to tie some people up, then the terms of reference will be designed according to that. So what is required is to understand and appreciate that a nation of nationalities requires a far more constructive approach, a far more federal approach, and a far more appreciation of the needs of the state, and not only the needs of the state, that the union itself depends on the strength of the states. And that consensus were to come about, and I'm not saying that that consensus was somehow there and it's lost. It's always been a contested, but we had all come to some consensus, some form of a compromise, rather, not consensus, some compromise. But this effort to reset that compromise to the detriment of states like Karnataka is not in the interest of all, in my view. Now, the last point I want to mention is that, again, now I withdraw from the fiscal federalism issue to a federalism issue. Now, I've been saying this for about 3, 4, 5 years, but maybe I'm not right. Hence, there is not much resonance to what I've been saying. the union government over the last 7-8 years has taken several decisions which, as I've said, has basically reset the terms of arrangement between the union and center, has reset some of the consensus that prevailed, some of the compromise that prevailed, and has changed the rules of the game through its various terms of reference. One of that is population. I promised you I will not speak about population, but now I'm speaking about population in a different context. Now, in this country, we had a consensus that not the absolute population, as some of the experts will indicate, has always been factored in by the finance commissions. But the ratio of population was frozen in the year 1971 census. Why? Because subsequently some states made extraordinary efforts in the national interest to control population. The consensus was that those states should not be punished for controlling the population, and the states which didn't make much effort for not controlling the population should not be rewarded. This was the consensus that prevailed from 1971 till 2016 through various decisions of the parliament, some of the acts of the parliament, but this was reset. Now we are going with the more recent population ratio. Again, I'm not speaking about this issue in the fiscal context, I'm speaking about it in the federal context. Now, this consensus has been now reset. The consensus is broken. There is a new formula on which we are working, which is the current population distribution across states. Now, very soon, we have to take a decision on delimitation of seats. And we have, in the parliament, we have heard that there are talks to increase the strength of the parliament to about 600 and carve out parliamentary constituencies uniformly across the country on a population. What does it mean? It means like that basically states like Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, perhaps Andhra, perhaps Telangana, all these states will lose their proportionate representation in parliament, relative representation in parliament. What exactly do I mean? There is a very clever way of working this. Every state will more or less see increase in the number of parliamentary seats. Even Karnataka will see. We will see an increase from 28 to maybe 29%. The southern states are likely to see an increase of about 6% or 4% by one calculation. But some of the other states will see an increase in their MP seats by about 36 to 40%. So when that happens, the southern states will really lose their voice in the parliament. And there are measures afoot through the Finance Commission terms of reference. The precedence has been set. The same precedence will be extended to the next delimitation exercise. So far, the union government has not said that we will not do it. And if that goes through, many of the states in different part of the country will see a huge increase in their representation in parliament proportionately, and the southern states should see a relative drop of their strength in the parliament, and we will truly become voiceless or with a reduced voice. And already with existing ratio of representation in parliament, most of the southern states are losing out fiscal devolution. And if we further lose our voice in the parliament, I cannot imagine what else we will lose, not just fiscally. So these are some of the concerns that are playing on the minds of people like me and our government. Of course, you might ask, what's your, push comes to shove, what are you going to do? Of course, we have to live, we have to survive, we have to grow. We may learn to adapt, but this is definitely not in the interest of federalism. This is a deconstruction of federalism, and that's not in anybody's interest. What happens to the future of Karnataka? Of course, our honorable chief minister is there. There are intelligent people. We have to find a way. We have to find a way. Maybe, I mean, we have to compromise on a few things. Maybe we can't realize the full development of our human development capacity. There will be some checks and balances, but we will still try to find a way through these challenges. But such a path of deconstructing federalism is not in the interest of the union, not in the interest of anybody. And we should not go down that road. We should take a more constructive approach, and we must strengthen the states without losing anything in the center's domain. And I'm sure that can be worked out if there is, political will to do that. And I hope the current dispensation, this idea will dawn on them, and they will do a course correction where we can all work together for a stronger India. Thank you. Sorry, I took a lot more than I wanted to take.